Okay, we are back. I'm very happy to have on the Goldstein on Gelt show Joe Saul Sehy, who is the co-host of a fantastic podcast called Stacking Benjamins. He's also a former financial advisor. Joe, real pleasure to have you.
Tug, thanks for having me on the show. I can't believe I'm here.
So, Stacking Benjamins. Well, your name's not Benjamin, so where did you get the name of the show?
It is not. Well, in the United States, the Benjamins are $100 bills. And if we can stack $100 bills instead of stacking $1 bills, that's much better.
I like thinking big. That is a great idea.
Amen.
So you were a financial advisor for a really long time, and you helped a lot of people. And then you've kind of moved on into the world of media, which probably means you're leveraging yourself to help a lot more people. So one of the biggest issues, of course, that I find as a financial advisor myself, not yet retired from that part of my field, is it's not that people make the wrong investment choice, meaning they can't figure out how to invest. It's more often people do badly investing simply because of really crummy mistakes that they make. What would you say is the most common mistake you see people making when managing their money?
Well, first, I think you're right on. It's not the $1 million mistakes I saw people making. Everybody thought they were messing up really technical stuff. It was simply the basics. And I think the biggest one that I saw in my time as an advisor was always we had no idea what the end game plan was. And it seemed like when we started off with goal-based investing instead of market-based investing, market-based investing is when we're looking at the price of oil might be low, technology might be low, or gold is low, or whatever it might be. We're going to make some mistakes because we don't go in with a strategy. But if I know that I need to save X dollars per month and earn a Y rate of return to reach, let's say, my retirement goal, then I know I can set benchmarks along the way to reach that goal. And I'll know every year if I'm ahead of the game or if I'm behind the game. And then that drives my investing and my saving decisions. And because we don't start with that end goal, and it's amazing, Doug, for 16 years, I would tell people that, and they would look at me like, I've never heard this before. This is absolutely amazing. And it seems very, very simple to me.
So let's dig into that a little more, because certainly the concept of goals, it makes sense. But the problem I've found is that people, if you talk to them, well, let's first set goals and then we'll work backwards and do a plan. They go, yeah, that's nice, right? But this feeling of goal setting, I think for many people is very amorphous. And it's not just amorphous, it's and I was going to use the word ridiculous. They get it, but it seems like not a human way to work because people are so not used to working that way. How do you bring people to the point where they realize, goal is not an evil thing. It's not a dream, it's not wishful thinking. How do you explain that to people?
What it's simply a difference between what we want today and making what we want tomorrow equal in our brain what we want to what we want today. So what I mean is this: when I go to a store and I see a sweater I want, I can touch it, I can feel it, I know what it is. When I think about retirement, well, maybe for a listener today, that's 35 years into the future. Who knows what that's going to look like? And because it's this cloudy thing out there, I think, why am I going to put together this plan to get that? And buying the sweater is right here. I know it and I can touch it. And I found as a financial planner, the more we crystallize that goal. And by the way, some people out there might be thinking, I'm 28 years old. I have no idea what that's going to look like. It almost doesn't matter. We just need to crystallize it and put specifics about what that goal looks like, so we feel like we can touch that goal as much as we can touch the sweater. I think that's why a lot of these websites online that I'm seeing popping up all over the place, new blog saying retire by 40 or retire under 40, is so somebody who's in their 20s can get that feeling about what, they can bring the goal a little closer. They can actually smell it.
The smell test. I think that's a good way to describe it. One of the things that this issue of goal setting has really been on my mind for a long time. I wrote a book recently with a world chess champion about how the strategies of chess could be applied to investing. And interestingly, we spent a lot of time talking about goal setting. But one of the things that I tried to really get her to pin down, because I have this belief that everything about investing can be learned from chess, was what does she really mean when she sets a goal? And we ended up coming up with this cute acronym for strategic, or at least for the first 5 letters, STRAT. And the very first S from the strategic goal setting was that it has to be specific. And it's just like what you're saying, which is if you can smell it, It's specific. You know exactly what it is that you want. And I think that people realizing that, Joe, the way you're describing it is a great way to put it.
Well, and it seems like not only should it be strategic, and I love that acronym that you use. Uh, I think you need to take this goal that seems strategic and make it tactical, which I think also has a lot to do with chess. You have this long-term goal, but then when we break it up into yearly milestones that we need to reach, I found a lot of the times, Doug, my client didn't get it initially. They got it at the one-year meeting when they come into my office and we take all of their investments wherever they might be and we add them together and we see if we're ahead or behind that milestone. And once they saw that's not a 25-year goal, that is a goal every single year. And it's almost like, it's eating an elephant, right? There's that old analogy that when you eat an elephant, eat it one bite at a time. and making that milestone so that it's in the near future instead of way out will help you reach those big, huge, scary goals.
I think that's a critical way to describe it, certainly with the elephant idea. We're talking to Saul Sehy, who, apart from being the co-host of a fantastic podcast called Stacking Benjamins, also has years and years of experience in the financial planning world. He's also actually written a white paper called Launching Your Personal Finance Rocket, the surprising reason why you shouldn't take advice from Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, or the Motley Fool. Now, I have to say, I haven't seen this yet, and I'm very curious because listeners of the Goldstein on Gelt show know that Dave Ramsey has a regular piece on the show here. But I'm dying to know what it's about. And Joe has told us at the end of today's discussion, he's going to show us how people can download a free copy, right, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely.
A free copy of that white paper.
Yes. And I'll tell you, Doug, it's not as incendiary as the title suggests. The reason you shouldn't follow a specific guru has less to do with the guru as it has to do with you. And you'll learn more as you read that.
All right. So I'm definitely going to encourage people just to hang on in just a couple of minutes. We'll tell you how you can get that white paper for free. Joe, let's dive into a different area, because something else that I find talking with people is sometimes it turns out people are not saving enough money. And so I actually had on this show, I've had many financial advisors on the show, and they talk about different models for saving. But at the end of the day, someone has to make the decision and say, I'm committed to saving. And then they turn to me and they go, Doug, how do I do it? What do I not buy? So what would you advise people as the first steps in order to become savers as opposed to spenders?
It's funny, Doug. I wrote a piece on our blog about this just a couple of weeks ago that I love to focus on my unique talent. I have only a few things that I can focus on in a day and be successful. And I found that in my financial planning practice. I find that with Stacking Benjamins. Anything in my life, I can't focus on everything. So for everything else that's important, but not something I want to focus on in that day, and for most of us that's saving money, I have to automate it. And so I need to get in and use any tool I can find to automate my savings that's out there. And it no longer, so people hear that, maybe their eyes roll in the back of their head. Yeah, I've heard that before. And maybe you're automating a retirement plan, maybe some money going into a mutual fund or into a brokerage account or college fund, whatever it might be. But now there are even apps out there where with the price of oil being low and we save money at a gas pump, now I can take the money that I saved on one trip to the gas pump, let's say it's $10 that I didn't spend, that I might maybe spent 2 months earlier. I can take that, and with this app, I can have that money exit my checking account, go into my longer term savings. So
well, you better do that quickly, because they're talking about taxing the price of gas back up to the original levels.
Isn't that funny how the government finds a way? Hey, well, it's low and people don't expect it. Yeah. But it's little things like that, taking advantage of some of these cool new apps. And I don't know that I want to specify one, because there's a ton of new technology out there that's really exciting that can help people automate their finances better and make it so that we pay less attention but get more money saved.
So what do you suggest to people who like the idea, but they're not at the moment in their life when they should be saving money because they're so much in debt that they really have to start by paying off debt? Any pearls of wisdom for getting started there?
I think that my only pearl of wisdom would be this, is that the Dave Ramsey approach of the debt snowball and putting $1,000 away into a savings account, or putting a minimum amount away into a savings account so that you don't have to go back to the credit card again, is essential. And I see this fight on the internet, that's gone on and on about the difference between the inefficiency of the debt snowball and something more efficient called the debt avalanche, where instead of using the Ramsey method of paying the smallest amount first and then the larger amount, starting with the highest interest rate first. I think you can do both by using some of the tools, once again, that are out there that didn't used to exist when Dave Ramsey first wrote his book. So one tool I like is called Ready for Zero. Payoff.com is another one. Some free tools out there where you can the crux of the Dave Ramsey debt snowball argument, the way I see it, is that you're getting small wins and you can see it. And a lot of these new exciting apps help people get that visualization that we all need as humans, but be more efficient than we will if we do it the set debt snowball way.
Yeah, I think that's great. And a lot of the apps also, I know, have sort of a community nature. In fact, when like the diet apps as well, you write in, I lost a pound, and then your friends or whoever you decided to share this with see it, and they can send you a little thumbs up, and it makes you feel, because this is very, very psychological. Obviously, the math is pay off the debt first and then start saving. But if you just tell people that, you can tell them 1,000 times, it won't make any difference. But until you can make it part of who they are and build it into their habits and make them feel good about it, you're not going to really be able to succeed. Joe,
we totally are, Doug, not to jump in here, but we totally are what we think about. Before I moved to Texarkana, Texas, where I live now, the heart of money-saving country is Texarkana, Texas. I don't know
kidding.
If you know.
I did not know that. The capital of money saving. Okay.
You learn everything on Goldstein on Gelt. Like that. But before I moved here, I was a runner. I ran a few 5Ks. All my friends, when I moved here, Doug, they all run marathons. I never wanted to run a marathon. I didn't care about running a marathon. I've lived here for 5.5 years. I've now run 10 marathons. And you know what it is? It's community. So if I want to pay off debt, I want to join whatever community I can get into of like-minded individuals, because they'll help you achieve it.
That is fantastic. Joe, I have a lot more to go over, but not only could we fill up hours and hours of the Goldstein on Gelt show, but I know a lot of the questions that I'm asking and a lot of the great ideas you have are on your blog. And I also know that you told us you would give us access to your white paper launching your personal finance rocket. So in the last few seconds, just tell people how they can learn about you, how they can follow you, and of course, how they can get access to this white paper.
Well, thanks a lot for having me on again, Doug. By the way, this was fantastic.
A lot of fun. Thank you.
I love doing this. I love the show. It's so what I did was I curated articles from the Stacking Benjamins website and some of our shows that I think that your community will like more than others. And to get all that plus access to the white paper, I set up one simple page that has it all. And if you go to stackingbenjamins.com/Goldstein, stackingbenjamins.com/Goldstein. It'll give you all that. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm Average Joe Money. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/iStackBenjamins. And, our goal is to have a lot of fun. Your goal is to teach people. Our goal at Stacking Benjamins in our podcast is just to have that community. We jokingly say we never want to teach anybody anything ever. Our
right,
goal,
but I know you do. So people who listen to you are not going to get away without becoming a little bit smarter. Joe, Saul Sehy, I want to thank you very, very much. And I'd like to encourage everyone to go to those links. We'll put links to all of that at the show notes of today's GoldsteinOnGelt.com website. Joe, thanks again.
Thanks a lot.
You've been listening to the Goldstein on Gelt Show with money maven Doug Goldstein. Doug's weekly radio show is heard around the world. If you miss it, you can download the podcast at www.goldsteinongelt.com. The Goldstein on Gelt Show gives you up-to-date financial ideas so you can get on the path to financial freedom. If you'd like your questions answered on the air or off, send Doug an email to doug@profile-financial.com. It's your money for your future, so join Doug every week to build your wealth on the Goldstein on Gelt Show.